The sharp creak of the porch swing in the late afternoon stillness jolted John Parker from his thoughts as he sat on his Texas porch. The golden light of the setting sun casting long shadows across his 200-acre ranch, a faint sound that sent a shiver through the warm April air. His rifle resting beside him as the coffee mug sat steady on the weathered boards, the lake's silver surface shimmering faintly in the distance. Its calm a stark contrast to the tension knotting his gut. He stood tall, his heart pounding like a war drum in his chest. The burn scar on his forearm throbbing with a dull ache as he scanned the horizon, the wildflowers along the plains trembling in the evening breeze. Their vibrant colors a quiet promise of peace Head fought to maintain, the faint lowing of cattle and the rustle of leaves cutting through the stillness like a whisper of danger. After the tactical victory over Sterling Enterprises, where John's sharpshooting had turned the ranch into a fortress, had hoped for a season to mend the ranch's wounds and Ethan's resolve. But now the air thrummed with danger, a new threat rising from the shadows of his past, and Head faced it with the steel of his 54 years. His hands calloused, not just from ranching, but from a life of service, a legacy Head upheld for 3 decades, maintaining a special landing zone in his southern pasture. A tradition started by his grandfather during World War II, providing a crucial training area for military helicopters from an airbase 2 counties over, the plains stretching wide and unbroken, the wildflowers enduring despite the storms that had come before. The ranch was a family operation that had served both the community and the military for 3 generations. A legacy John had taken up 30 years ago, every week maintaining the landing zone just as his father had done during the Korean War. The locals all knowing Parker Ranch as a haven for young pilots needing night landing practice, John staying up late to set out the markers, his sister Mary Ellen preparing coffee and sandwiches for the crews during long training sessions, her voice a steady comfort. "Can't expect our boys to train on empty stomachs," she'd say. Even during calving season, John always keeping that field clear, understanding that military readiness couldn't wait for cattle to graze. The wildflowers along the pasture's edge vibrant in the evening light, the lake glowing gold as the sun dipped lower, its surface smooth as glass, a beacon of the peace Head fought for. John had never caused any problems for the county in 30 years, but when Horizon Tech, a Silicon Valley developer tied to Grayson's network, bought the surrounding land last year, everything changed. The new owners caring little for military training zones or national security, seeing only prime real estate for their new data center, and John's ranch was right in the middle of their plans. Their offer cold and calculated. "We're offering above market value," they told John, but no amount of money could replace 3 decades of service to his country. The ranch not just land, but a crucial training facility that had helped countless pilots master their skills, some of those same pilots having gone on to serve in every conflict since the Gulf War. The plains pulsing with the weight of history, the wildflowers enduring despite the storm, their roots deep in the Texas soil. John sat at his kitchen table, looking at the final eviction notice. 30 years of Parker family tradition about to end, because corporate developers didn't understand the value of what they were destroying. His grandfather having maintained these fields through World War II, his father through the Cold War, but now zoning laws and property developers were about to do what even war couldn't. The wildflowers along the kitchen's edge trembling in the evening breeze, the lake glowing silver in the distance, its calm a distant promise amidst the storm to come. One by one, John watched his neighbors sell out, the Carter place next door, where helicopter crews used to rest between exercises already marked for development. Down the road, the Hensley family having sold their 100 acres that used to serve as an emergency landing zone. Every night, John sitting with Mary Ellen in their kitchen, looking at the developer offers, his voice heavy. "I don't understand it. We've been helping train pilots for 30 years. How can they just erase all that history?" Mary Ellen holding his hand, remembering all the young servicemen and women they'd supported, all the late-night training sessions they'd facilitated, but they both knew time was running out. The plains stretching wide and unbroken, the wildflowers enduring despite the storm, their roots deep in the Texas soil. That afternoon, John put up a sign with trembling hands. Notice military training zone, closing Parker Ranch, serving our forces since 1943. Something about writing those words making it all feel terribly real. Below the sign, adding a smaller note. Thank you for 30 years of service to our country. The wildflowers along the sign's edge trembling in the breeze. The lake glowing gold as the sun set. Its surface a mirror of the peace Horizon Tech sought to shatter. John didn't tell the military at first, just kept maintaining the landing zone same as always. But the crew could see something was wrong. His usual proud stance stooped when he set out the landing lights, his voice cracking when he radioed coordinates to incoming helicopters. The wildflowers along the pasture's edge stained with the weight of history, their petals trembling in the evening light. A young reporter from Redstone came by to take photos, asking about the ranch's history, about what it meant to military aviation training, John telling her how his grandfather had first offered the land for training during World War II, how they'd supported pilots through Korea, Vietnam, and beyond. Not expecting much from the article, just another story about progress erasing history, the planes pulsing with the weight of survival, the wildflowers enduring despite the storm, their roots deep in the Texas soil. But something about that simple sign and the history behind it touched people's hearts. The photo spreading through military channels, 3 decades of pilot training ground gone, just like that. One post read, the story gaining more attention as people shared memories of Parker Ranch. The night landing training, the emergency procedures practice, Mary Ellen's coffee and sandwiches during long exercises, the wildflowers along the ranch's edge a testament to the life John had built. Their colors vibrant in the Texas sun. John was in his barn that evening when the landline rang, Ethan having begged him to get a cell phone, but had always said the old phone worked just fine. Mr. Parker, a voice said, please hold for the General of the Air Force. John almost dropped the receiver, thinking it must be a prank, but seconds later another voice came on the line. Mr. Parker, I saw the story about your ranch. Tell me about it. The lake glowing silver in the distance, its calm a beacon of the hope that endured. For the next 20 minutes, John talked with the general about service, not politics, just service, about late nights guiding helicopters in, about watching young pilots become skilled aviators, about teaching the next generation what dedication to country really means, about 30 years of maintaining the same landing zone his father had marked out. The wildflowers along the barn's edge trembling in the night breeze, the plains stretching wide and unbroken, their roots deep in the Texas soil. Mr. Parker, the general said finally, we can't lose training grounds like yours. Give me 24 hours. John could hardly hold the phone, his hands shaking so badly, the General of the Air Force having just promised to help save his ranch. After months of thinking all was lost, there was hope. Mary Ellen, he called out, his voice trembling. Mary Ellen, you won't believe what just happened. She came running from the kitchen. John, what is it? Her braids swinging as she moved. That was the General of the Air Force on the phone. He saw our story. He wants to help save the ranch. Mary Ellen starting to cry right there in the kitchen. After all the sleepless nights, after watching John work himself to exhaustion maintaining those fields, finally someone understood. The lake glowing gold outside as the last rays of dusk faded. The wildflowers enduring despite the storm, their roots deep in the Texas soil. The next morning, just as John finished his morning chores, the sound of rotor blades filled the air, a Black Hawk helicopter appearing over the tree line, followed by 2 more. Their markings clear as they landed in his training field. These weren't regular training crews. This was the Air Force's own fleet, 2 colonels stepping out, carrying briefcases. John's heart racing as he realized this had to be about the general's call. Mr. Parker, one of them said, showing his credentials. We're here to make sure your ranch stays exactly where it belongs, serving the United States military. The wildflowers along the pasture's edge vibrant in the morning light. The lake glowing silver in the distance. It's come a testament to the peace they'd won. For the next hour, they sat at John's kitchen table, Mary Ellen serving coffee while they went through paperwork. The colonels explaining how the ranch would be designated as a protected military training facility, making it impossible for developers to touch it, the military leasing the landing zones. Providing the Parkers with steady income while preserving the crucial training area. Sign here, Mr. Parker, they said, pointing to the bottom of the document. This ensures your ranch will continue serving our forces for generations to come. John's hands shaking as he signed. After months of thinking he'd lose everything, it felt like a dream. The lake shimmering faintly beyond the ridge, its surface a mirror of the hope that endured. The colonel smiled as he packed up the papers. The general wanted us to tell you something, he said. Standing to leave, he said to remind you that some things are worth more than money, and supporting our military is one of them. The wildflowers along the kitchen's edge trembling in the breeze. The plains stretching wide and unbroken, their roots deep in the Texas soil. That same day, the military paid a visit to Horizon Tech's offices in Redstone. The developers' faces turning pale when the Air Force officials walked in. No more fancy talk about property values now, handing them new paperwork. Official orders about protected military installations. But our development plans, one executive started to say, have been superseded. The colonel cut him off by national security interests. The developers suddenly finding a way to revise their plans, not just for John, but for all the surrounding ranches that supported military training. The Carter place staying a rest area. The Hensleys keeping their emergency landing zone. One by one, the threatened ranches being protected. The lake glowing gold as the sun rose, its surface smooth as glass. A beacon of the peace they'd won. True to his word, within 24 hours, everything had changed. Parker Ranch still standing, John still maintaining the landing zones, though now Caleb, Mary Ellen's nephew, worked alongside him, learning the family tradition, the training schedules busier than ever. Mary Ellen making sure every crew had hot coffee and fresh sandwiches. Just like always, John still staying up for night training, saying the same thing Head said for 30 years. Can't expect our boys to learn in daylight only. The wildflowers along the pasture's edge blooming anew, their colors vibrant in the Texas sun, the lake glowing silver in the distance, its calm a testament to the peace John had won. The closing notice sign hung in his barn now, a reminder of the day the general called, but John just smiled when people asked about it, preferring to show them the new landing lights or let them watch the helicopter's practice approaches, the planes pulsing with the weight of history, the wildflowers enduring despite the storm, their roots deep in the Texas soil. The crew gathered in the yard, coffee steaming in mugs, the air thick with the scent of roasted beans and the faint tang of dust that clung to their clothes. Ethan slouched in a chair, his face steady, trust forged in the fight's fire. The map spread wide across the table, the southern pasture marked in red ink, a testament to the day's victory. The lantern light casting long shadows over their weary faces, the lake glowing gold outside as the last rays of dusk faded, the plains stretching wide and unbroken, wildflowers battered but enduring, their roots deep in the Texas soil. Legacy held, Frank said, leaning back, his pistol gleaming on his hip, his voice gravelly but sure. But Grayson still breathing, he's a shadow we can't shake. Mary Ellen poured coffee, her hand firm, her voice edged with steel. Fields held. Your fight's a wall, John. We'll stand. Jake grinned, his fists unclenching, dust still caked on his boots. We save him, Ethan too. He's steel now. Sarah nodded from the corner, her phone glowing with Hargrove's last update, her voice resolute. Sheriff's huntin', Horizon's trails cold. We'll find a route. Matt tapped his laptop, fingers pausing as he met John's gaze, his tone sharp. Developers were tied to Dallas cash. Grayson's deep. He'll trace it. Won't stop till we know. Tom stood by the door, lantern dimming, his broad frame a silent pillar, his voice low but firm. He'll watch the ridge. Plains are clear, but eyes ain't. John met Ethan's gaze across the table. The boy's eyes steady despite the weight of the day, his hands still steady from the fight, and John's voice cut through the room like steel tempered in fire. You held today. Fought like a Parker. That's good. Keep it up, Ethan. The legacy is just the start. We've got more coming. Ethan swallowed hard, nodding slow, his voice quiet but raw. I will, Dad, swear it. No more running. The room fell silent, the lake glowing silver outside as the night deepened, the plains stretching wide and unbroken, wildflowers battered but enduring, their roots deep in the Texas soil. John rose, rifle close, stepping onto the porch where the air smelled of earth and renewal, his eyes scanning the ridge where the fight had raged. The memory of Horizon Tech's defeat a bitter taste on his tongue, the legacy of his past a weight he'd carry until the end. Across the horizon, a light blinked, binoculars catching the starlight, then vanishing into the trees, a shadow still breathing in the darkness, a reminder that the fight was far from over, the wildflowers along the plain's edge blooming anew, their colors vibrant in the Texas night, the lake glowing silver in the distance, its calm a testament to the peace John had won, but the storm on the horizon a promise of battles yet to come.